dreams in the making. I grinded for it, seems like an eternity. Now I know what it takes to make it. EYG the label, EYG the brand. EYG the label, and EYG the brand. Just elevate your grind. Exclusive young G's, put the city on our back. Grinding through the mud, climb up out the strong. Elevated status on done. EYG the label, EYG the brand.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what up, y'all?
What's good, bro? We back. We back for
another
episode.
We missing one today.
Yeah,
Jizzle James. His birthday was yesterday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jizzle James, man. He down in Mexico. That boy really living his song, man. That boy across the border.
How we living across the border.
That boy out there in Mexico on yachts.
That's right.
Playing beach volleyball and stuff. Living like he's 19 right now. So yeah, man, we the two Mohicans are here.
That's right.
So, bro, how your week going?
It's going pretty good, man. Just a lot of schoolwork. You know, I'm working on a marketing plan for my marketing class that I have to turn in on Monday, and then I have a business law class that I just turned the assignment for. It's due Saturday, but I turned it in early, and then I got global finance. So trying to juggle those three classes this semester. We're gonna see what's this gonna require. But you know, I'm up for the challenge. Yeah, so business law is more of centered around contracts, agreements, mergers, acquisitions, intellectual property.
That's an important class right there.
But it's hard though, boy.
I can imagine. But that's what we need to know though.
Yeah. So I made like a B on my first one. I turned it in too early because I usually look at it first. And then I'll submit it because some classes you can do several submissions. So I submitted it early because I'll forget. Mm-hmm. And he graded it so fast, I got a B. I said, bro, I ain't gonna be mad with no B. Like it is what it is. We got 10 more assignments. They like exams, mini exams. So we got like 10 more left. So hopefully I can make a few A's and get an A. But you know, with 3 classes, man, I take 1 B, 2 A's and a B, but I would love 3 A's.
Man, absolutely. We want them A's, man.
That's right.
Well, you got something else going on important right now too, though.
Oh yeah. So it's a 20 under 40 rule magazine.
Oh yeah, we got you, bro. We got your own.
Yes, sir. So that's the top 4 right there. It was 20 under 40, so it was a 40 under 40. It was 40 under 40. So it's 40 people who were like honorees, and they all will be, you know, given recognition in the magazine. Mm-hmm. But we are the top 4. So that's the top 4 that you see in the magazine. And actually today, probably right now, in just about 10 minutes or so, we're gonna see out of the top 4 who's like number 1. And so we'll see that. Everyone is a great candidate, so whoever wins, that's fine. I'm just honored really to be part of a magazine that's in Georgia, right? It covers like Georgia, Alabama, Florida, but just to be recognized, you know, from another state, because that's a Georgia magazine, it's just an honor in itself. So I mean, I'm good with whatever happenens, but you know I like to win. But if I don't, yeah. But if I don't, though, but if I don't, it's cool because I met the other 3 people. They very cool. Yeah. They're pioneers, trailblazers. So shout out to them for sure.
Man, that's dope that they even have that. Like that's even a thing. The 40 under 40. I think it shines the light on, you know, the youth, because you know if you're under 40, be pretty much the youth. You know, you're right. You're the present leader. So yeah, man, I think that's a great achievement. You know, I'm proud of it. You know, I've been telling people, everybody that know you, I'll be telling them, oh, yeah, my boy under 40 in a magazine.
Hey, they say that magazine is a big deal in Georgia. Like I didn't know.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I seen that when I used to live in Atlanta. I used to see that magazine all the time.
Okay.
So yeah, when you said it, when you told me what it was for, I was like, oh, okay, you about to be on a real magazine.
That's right.
So yeah, bro. Next time I go to Georgia, I'm gonna scoot some up for you. Some hard copies.
Sir. I might, yeah, because they said we could get a digital copy today.
Nah, nobody want that, man. I want that.
That's right.
I want to be able to frame that thing and put it on the wall,
right.
especially when you win, because then it's really gonna mean something. Then
we're gonna see in 20 minutes.
well, we got to pause. If we got to pause the interview with Theo, we'll pause it so we can celebrate for a couple seconds. But yeah, bro. My week.
What you been up to, bro?
My week been crazy too, man. I know the last podcast we had, I was just finishing an audition where I was like breaking furniture. I hurt my hand. I booked a role.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I ended up booking a role. Can't say what it is yet, but after I film and get clearance to talk about it, I'll tell the people. So I booked a role on the show. Also been meeting with a wealth coach. I got a wealth coach now, and doing some work with him, and that's going to be something that I'm gonna be able to bring to the Curtis house. Of course, bring the EYG to kind of make sure that we're on the paths we need to be on to be millionaires in the next couple of years. So yeah, man, just grinding, man, getting it in.
Yeah, hey, bro, don't try to slide by that wealth coach like you just said, like, hey, yeah, bro, I got a help coach or a mentor. That boy said wealth coach.
Yeah, it's a wealth coach, bro. He's a guy from Indianapolis. I think he's 41, and he came from the gutter. You know what I'm saying? And he's very open about his story. He's a felon. He started off on the wrong path, and he met a billionaire in LA. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about LA is you literally don't know when you walk out of your door who you can meet. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever industry you're in, you can meet the person who's at the top here. So it's like he met a billionaire, and the billionaire just believed in him. And at the time, he was like promoting parties and flipping houses. And at the time, he had lost everything he had. He was sleeping in his Hummer. And the billionaire gave him $50,000 and said, it was like Grammys weekend coming up. And he said, if you go book P. Diddy like you want to do, I'll pay for it. So Diddy was trying to charge him $50,000 for like an hour or two. He gave him the $50,000, booked Diddy. He made like $300,000. And the wealth, the billionaire's promise was, if you bring me $60,000 back, I'll mentor you. So he mentored him, taught him everything he know, and now his goal is to mentor and groom the most black millionaires in the world. That's his goal. My wealth coach. So it's just simple stuff that we don't know, bro, that they don't teach us in school. You know what I'm saying? And learning how to create those 7 streams of income. And, a lot, after talking to him the first time, I realized that, we're on the right path. You know what I'm saying? You definitely on the right path with having a nonprofit, having EYG, you know what I'm saying? Going back to school, get your MBA, all that. So definitely, bro, it's going to change the game for us.
Yeah,
I repeat, it's going to change the game for us.
I done got everything except my millions, man.
Bro, listen, bro. That's it, bro. That's what we missing. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so,
right.
Like he was telling me, he was like, bro, you're going to make money because you're good at acting. You're good at what you do. So you're probably going to sell a show. But he was like, you got to have these different incomes to sustain it. You got to have a wealth plan. And, bro, he just one of them people, when he talk, he just make it seem like it's possible. Like, yeah, bro, I can do it. So yeah, I've been meeting with him. I got a Zoom call with him at 2:00 today. I'm supposed to be shooting some stuff for him. So yeah, bro, I'm just grinding, man. And in other news, I know you heard about Bishop Sycamore, the high school.
I only heard about it because I saw you on Facebook saying that you about to book a Netflix series about this. so I go look. I think YouTube or Google or what, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And that's when I, understood what took place. They got drilled I
They
mean,
got
like,
drilled by IMG, which is the #1 school in America in high school. And I feel like if they wouldn't have played on TV, it wouldn't have brought that much attention to them. So they still could have slid by. But when you playing the #1 team in America on TV and you get beat 58-0, and it's not even close, everybody want to know, like, how did that happen? So they started digging, and nothing added up. So I seen this interview. I just couldn't believe, like, how they were getting by with all of this after I saw this interview. So I'm gonna pull it up right quick.
Yesterday, Bishop Sycamore. The team claiming to be based in Ohio lost in front of an ESPN audience Sunday, final score 58-0 to a team from Florida. Now we can tell you they have fired their head coach. Roy Johnson was fired for not keeping track of injuries and for misleading a marketing team. Today, a former player of Bishop Sycamore told his story to Kevin Landers of our sister station in Columbus.
Aaron Boyd recalls this pitch he got from coaches to leave Cincinnati and play high school football in Columbus.
When we first moved in, they told us that we didn't have our facility built yet, so we were staying in a hotel in Delaware, Ohio. So we were staying there. We all thought we were just waiting for our dorms.
No dorms were built because this was an online school, and there was no money or food, he said. So the then 15-year-old says he and other players did what they had to do.
Dine and dash, like take food from grocery stores, all that.
Like many players his age, he dreamed of playing against IMG, a high school football powerhouse that was featured last weekend on ESPN against the newest version of Christians of Faith Academy, now called Bishop Sycamore. But his year, he never played against IMG.
It's because we wasn't a real school.
And he said there was little emphasis on education.
We wasn't going to school. I wanted to actually come and go to a real school. Like, it got to a point, like, we wasn't going to school, and, like, I thought it was cool at first. And then, like, it was like, man, like, what am I doing? Like,
as for kids looking at going to the school now, Boyd has this message.
Don't go, because it's a waste of time.
Wow. So Landers was scheduled to interview the actual director of the school, but says Andre Peterson never showed up for the scheduled Zoom call. Now, former head coach Roy Johnson, who we told you was fired, actually has a warrant, Betsy, out for his arrest. He's facing a civil lawsuit for alleged fraud. We've also learned today that at least 5 future opponents of Bishop Sycamore, including St. Ed's, which was scheduled for Friday, September 24th, have canceled their scheduled games. And Betsy, when you put all of this together, I would be stunned if Bishop Sycamore ever plays another football game. I don't see how that can possibly happen.
I don't know how it could happen either. And of course, stuck in the middle of all this is these kids. And that's, they want to play football. It's not a perfect scenario. They have dreams like everybody else does. They just want to get on the big stage, show what they can do.
Sure.
And man, this has just been a smackdown on
And
them.
in the case of the player that was interviewed, he was sold a bill of goods that didn't exist.
Right.
Now imagine you're 14, 15, 16 years old. You have dreams of playing at a Division I college football program. And someone calls you and says, we're building a powerhouse here. It's going to be a nationally ranked power. And you get there and there's no dorms. There's no food. These kids were stealing meals. Criminal.
Unfortunate.
We'll continue to follow the story wherever it goes.
Bruh.
That was crazy.
It's wild, man. Like, how can something like that ever happen? Like, on that level, to that magnitude? Like,
and then I heard the commentators on, I guess, with ESPN, whatever channel they were playing on, say they keep saying these guys are like 5 stars, 4 stars, but I can't find them anywhere, right? And so it was like literally seeing someone finesse the whole world.
The whole world, bro.
It within seconds of them playing, it's like, hey man, we got to look into this. These players, this coach. They getting blowed out.
It was bad, bro. And the thing is, they played a whole season last year. They played 6 games last year, and they were able to get away with it last year because it was COVID was ramping up, so a lot of teams were canceling games, and some teams were just looking to play games, so they were scheduling whoever they could, and they went 0-6 last year. But this year, with things bent the schedule with ESPN airing high school games and etc. They got exposed. So yeah, bro, that's wild, man. Like and I think it's a situation where you're using football to exploit these guys, and you end up hurting them even more because they're going to this make-believe school and they're not getting an education. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to class. And you hear guys like this guy in the interview, and they're talking about like, oh, yeah, it was cool at first. And then I was like, man, why we're not going to class? You know what I'm saying? You miss it once you realize you're being duped and you don't have an opportunity to go to class. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to one of the reasons why I wanted to show that video and talk about it is because of our guest, Theo Moore. And, you know, he's an educator, big on history, big on education in general. And I know him watching this video in the green room, like, got his blood boiling. I'm sure he's probably heard about it too. But we'll go ahead and bring him in. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Theo. Let me rephrase that. Theo M. Moore II. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to his pops. What up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Theo? What up?
What up, man?
Bless, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be here, man. You guys are doing big things on big platforms, man. So it's an honor to actually be on this show with you, man. For real.
Bro, thank you for letting us have you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for joining us. Bro, what do you think about the video we just showed, man?
I was laughing because I didn't know anything about the school. This is my first time hearing about it, bro. But I did see like a meme of Cam Newton in a Bishop Sycamore uniform. And now that you said that, and now it's even funnier now. Because you know Cam Newton going through it right now, but hopefully he lands somewhere. But man, yeah, man, that's crazy, man. That is mind blowing. How they was able to get away with that. That's crazy.
Yes, sir. So for those who don't know, you know what I'm saying, we know you're making a stamp for yourself in Alabama and especially in our area. Tell the people where it all started for Theo. You were born in Anniston, correct?
Yeah, I was born in Anniston, Alabama, man. Pretty rough area, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
If you
those some dogs from there, boy.
Yes, sir, man. It's pretty rough, man. And so if you look at any statistic in regards to the worst city in Alabama or the worst city to live, you know, Anniston in your top 3. So it's that bad. So I grew up there, you know, single parent household, you know, with my mother. And I had 2 other sisters, man. But, you know, experienced a lot of things, man, and on the poverty line a little bit, but really, and you know that actually translates to the school. You know, I really wasn't focused on I wasn't a disruptive kid or anything like that, but a lot of things actually impacted my school. And so it was one subject that made sense to me because I asked a lot of questions like, why, you know, 99% of the people in the projects are Black, or why everybody on this side of town, or why when I, you know, go on this side of town, you know, I'm profiled and all those other type things. And I went to a predominantly Black school, and, you know, our history teacher, man, just gave us the real. And basically, you know, sat us down and actually told us the history and how it translates to, you know, what we seeing in our community to this day, man. And man, I just stuck to this history, man. Like, because he was giving us so much information that I never heard before, and that just sparked something in me. And I was able to graduate, you know, from high school. I'm the first to graduate out of my immediate family from high school, let alone college and, you know, other accomplishments. But yeah, I was the first to do it. And so, you know, when I made that accomplishment, it was a no-brainer of what I wanted to do after that was to be a teacher. I wanted to be exactly what my teachers were to me, man. I held on tight to them, and they got me through a lot of tough times. And so I wanted to push that forward and help a lot of, students that, that had situations like mine. And so that's how I got into, education and basically education equity and history. I love history, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely, it makes sense. And that's one of the things I was going to ask is that growing up in Anniston and the things you experienced influence, your choice to teach history, but you of course, expound upon that. So you went to undergrad at Troy, correct?
Yeah, Troy University.
How was that?
In Troy. Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say like the continuation of the education of you coming off of this high of having this dope history teacher, and then going to, you majored in history, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You got your BA in history as well. So how was that continuation process?
It was first generation college student. So we all know what comes with that. No support, no financial support and things of that nature. So I'm just out there butt naked, man. And I'm just winging it. And that's something that, that's something that I learned from Anniston, man. Like I'm just gonna put myself out there and step out on faith. And something will work something will work out, And I always had that faith. And so I got to Troy University, man, and I majored in history. And man, Troy is a predominantly white school, and so a lot of my colleagues.
That was new for you too, right?
Man, yeah, that was a
culture shock.
Yeah, and that's kind of the reason why I actually chose Troy, because a lot of people, a lot of my classmates going to HBCUs. I was like, man, I went to HBCU by high school. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I said, man, and I'm so in tune with history and wanted to see other ways of thinking. And so I wanted to surround myself around, other ethnicities so that I could see how they're thinking and understand their perspectives and stuff like that. And so I chose Troy for that as well. But yeah, it's a predominantly white school. And so the history department was cool. But let's tell it like it is. I was the only black, that I can remember. I was the only black male student in most of my classes. Majority of my classes, I was the only black male student. And some of the topics, of course, that we talk about is like fall of the Roman Empire and things like that. Nothing, having to do. So it was kind of hard to relate to some of those European topics. Mm-hmm. But I don't regret it because it allows me to sit at many tables. Like I can sit down with a Japanese person right now and talk about their history. So I don't regret it for one moment, but sometimes, it was frustrating and it was kind of hard to grasp at times. And so what I did was any topic, they give me a research paper on, the Civil War, or, I actually try to find black content. Like I actually do papers. I actually do my papers on, the African American experience during those times in Africa or whatever. I try to bring something that I'm interested in to the table.
Yeah. I mean, because one, like you say, you're interested in that, and two, probably nobody else in your class is going to bring that perspective.
No, at all.
That's. And then, so you graduated from Troy. Did you immediately go to get your master's, or you started teaching first?
Both. It would happen at the same time. Like I think I got hired to be a middle school teacher.
Okay.
And I started the master's program at Troy University at the same time.
Okay.
And
so you were teaching in what county is it? Start with a B, right?
Yeah, it was Clark County.
Clark
It's
County.
down
Okay.
there.
Okay.
It's down there. It's down there in the boonies, man.
Yeah.
West. What's that? Southwest Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So you were teaching while getting your master's.
Yes.
Sheesh.
Yeah, man.
How was that?
And it was, man. It was interesting, but it worked out. I was already some of the teachers that was teaching me undergrad was also my professors on the master's level, and so I was already comfortable with some of the things that they like and their style, and so it was a nice transition. So it was a nice transition, and then the school I was at, man, I'm experiencing equity issues on the other side. So, before, in high school, growing up in the Anniston, of course, I experienced equity issues, man. Some crazy stuff went on in high school, like corporal punishment. And back in Anniston, I don't know if that's still a thing now. People still do that, but it's an issue in regards to physical punishment. But now that I'm a teacher now, I'm experiencing equity issues in regards to representation.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the schools I taught at, bro, I was the only Black male teacher.
And every school?
Every school I taught at.
Man.
Except for Prattville. Prattville had other Black males, but besides that, man, I was the only Black male teacher, bro. And the students looking at me like they see like ghosts. Because they don't see Black male representation unless their name starts with coach.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And so man, I took that to heart, man. It was definitely important to give them that experience of seeing somebody positive as a Black male role in a positive light in regards to being a Black male and a professional at that. And so in those positions, sometimes I look at it like, man, I'm frustrated. I feel isolated. I feel like I don't belong as a professional. But also, what kept me from giving people my resignation is that how important I am to the students, and then allowing them to see a Black male figure and a professional do it the right way. And I keep it real as well because I'm from Anniston, and so they're able to relate to me as well because I'm not just I'm not just out here with a silver spoon in my mouth. I came from the same things same experiences that some of my students can't come from, and I can see it. So sometimes other teachers probably don't have patience, but if a student snap on me, like I know something wrong. Let me pull them.
Something inside of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull them to the side after class because I never embarrass them in front of class. Some teachers go off right then and there, rightfully so. But something's wrong because this student is not like this. You know what I'm saying? This is one of my best students, or whatever the case may be. So I pull them to the side, and man, they just let me have it, man, because they just pour out their hearts of like, man, this is what's going on, all this other type of stuff, and they're able to relate to me. Now,
so when those things are going on, because I feel like this is important for a lot of people because we got a lot of friends who are teachers and in education as well, and I think this is important. So, you said they're able to relate to you. So, how much of like your background and your history, how much of that do you like unzip and expose? How vulnerable are you to the students when it comes to your past and the things that you've experienced?
Good question, man. The first day of class, I tell them my story. You know what I'm saying, of my situation and how I grew up, and and how I'm just a walking and living testimony, man, that it is possible. And so the first day, I just tell them like, if you having any issues or anything like that, or it's something that you want to talk to me about, I talk to you with open arms in regards to some of the stuff that you may be going through, because I understand, And so I give people my story right off bat, And also, I tell them the story because look, at the end of the day, I'm still from Anniston. So, because I was after middle school, I taught 10th grade. I taught 10th grade because they getting their license. They getting their license. They driving.
They're smelling themselves.
Yeah, they're smelling themselves, and the guys they in the weight room now. So
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? That Mr. Moore, that sized me up, lit me up. Mr. Moore was like, "What's up?" I'm like, "Hey, see me after 3 o'clock. I'm on the clock right now." But I be joking. I'm one of the teachers that joke with them sometimes and stuff like that, man. So it's all fun. It's all love, man. It was such an honor to touch so many lives, bro, while I was in those positions of being a history teacher.
Absolutely, man. I feel like that's important. So, if I could give you any advice, I would tell you continue to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Because just even in and the people that I remember are the people that were the most vulnerable to me. Like when it comes to my teachers, the ones who told me like, hey, this is what it is. And I remember the black teachers more because they could empathize with me. You know what I'm saying? They could tell me about their past, and I can be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's you like my auntie. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be, and it touches the kids, man. It sticks with them forever. You know what I'm saying? I find myself saying like certain things or slogans that some of my teachers used to say back in the day.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. I think that's important that you're vulnerable with the kids and you keep it real with them, because that's that's gonna allow them to let down that wall. You know what I'm saying, and be able to learn.
And that's what most times that's what happened. They let down that wall, and it's some stuff that I had to take to the counselor. I was like, okay, now this is beyond me. I don't think we just talking no more. Counselor got to take over at this point. But yeah, they definitely let down the wall, man, and I also understand our lingo and terminology and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's big as well. Because I never forget, bro. I had a teacher observation day where another teacher actually sit in your classroom and observe you teach the students. And of course, she was a white female, and I began to lecture on a historical topic, and one of my students like raised their hand, like, Mr. Moore, like you said we're gonna do this today, like what I'm saying? You said we're gonna do this today, or whatever it can be, and all that type of stuff. I said, you know what? I said, you're right. I forgot. So let's switch it up and do this, or whatever the case may be. And I can tell her tone. She was just like, "Hey, you said you was gonna do this today." Blah blah blah. I can tell like she wasn't coming from a disrespectful place when she said that. But the teacher after class, the teacher came to me like, "Hey, I saw that I saw that student being disruptive, and you want me to write her up?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Who being disrespectful?" Like, that's a plus. That to me, that's a student actually paying attention in class that knew what I said the previous day and reminded me of it. Like I see that as a plus actually. But
100%.
So representation and understanding, your students is definitely big, man. We need more of it, bro. Honestly.
Yeah, that's true. So you did attend an HBCU eventually, correct?
Yeah. So I'm at Tuskegee University. I run a museum. I'm the collections manager and educator at the Legacy Museum. And I was in the doctoral program there before I transitioned to an online program at the University of Illinois, focusing on diversity and inclusion.
Okay. So what was the main difference, or what is the main difference that you see from Troy to Ski?
So I also at Troy University, I also became a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. You know what I'm saying? And so,
bro, listen, we had another Theo on here. His name is Exeter Scholar. He's a singer and rapper. He's a musician, I should say. and he's a member of Omega too. So both
Oh,
Theos
yes,
on here
sir.
repping for the Qs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so the reason why I say that, because at Troy University, being in a predominantly white school, it's almost as if we had to explain what we was doing all the time. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if we actually did like a march on the yard, or, you know, did some type of program or whatever the case may be, we're in the office, we're in the dean's office the next day explaining to, you know, people or what's going on or whatever the case may be. It was almost like no one understood or really wanted to embrace, you know, that culture, man. And it seems like we always explaining ourselves and stuff like that. And so, man, when I got to Tuskegee University, now I've been there just visiting before, but, you know, just just actually spending time on campus, man, our culture is embraced. You know what I'm saying? You walk around campus and there's statues of people that look like you. You know, you go to the student center and, man, they bumping 4-2 Doug. You know what I'm saying? And they bumping 4-2 Doug, like, in the whole student, like, and you know, even the lunch ladies, you know, bobbing their head to the music. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm coming from Troy University, where we always had to turn our music down. Like, every time we had like an event or anything like that in regards to our culture, you know, it's like we had to turn our music down, or we get complaints and all this other type of stuff. So when I went into, you know, the student center and they was just bumping, you know, Greeks was strolling and all the other type of stuff, man, I said, man, y'all better turn it. I'm thinking in my mind, like, man, y'all need to turn this music down, y'all get in trouble or whatever the case may be.
Hey, bro, look, you've been conditioned.
Yeah, I've been conditioned to, man. And so, man, I just fell in love with Tuskegee in regards to embracing our culture, man. Like, it's just Black excellence, Black everything, bro. And so, man, that's a selling pitch to a student in itself. When they come on campus, that, like, you don't see that, bro, in many different environments. And so, man, I immediately fell in love with the history, first of all, and then just the culture there being embraced. So that's the difference.
Yeah, bro. I always tell people, like, how different times are now when it comes to, like, sports, right? So when me and Representative were like juniors and seniors and being recruited by all these D1 schools, like, the HBCU schools wouldn't recruit us. Like, they would tell us, like, we ain't wasting our time, and, like, we were like, bro, I want to go on a visit. Like, I want to go to Tuskegee, or I want to go to A&M. Like, what's up? And they were like, nah, we're not wasting our time. We know y'all going to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, bro, like, not having that experience or even going to visit. I mean, I went to HBCUs, you know, in college, but like, as a high school student, going and being embraced and recruited and, you know, shown, like, the history and the tradition of the school, you know, we missed that because they were like, no, we know you're not coming here, so we're not gonna waste our time. As opposed to nowadays, you got guys who are like number 1 through 10 recruits who are choosing to go to HBCU schools because of the culture and the history. And not only that, now I think you're going to see that more because of the name, image, and likeness that they have now. You can get paid the same amount or even more for going to an HBCU as, you know, a guy who's in Alabama, like Master P's son, like we talked about on another episode, who has a deal for like $2 million and he's going to Tennessee State. And so, yeah, bro, it's epic. So I always like to ask people, like, what was the difference? The people who have the experience in both, because you know that's rare as well. So yeah, that's dope, man. So moving on to something else that the people need to know. You are the founder of Historical Visions Productions, correct?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about what Historical Vision Productions is.
Yeah, so Historical Vision Productions is a nonprofit that highlight untold but inspiring history in the South, African American history in the South, in efforts to motivate, you know, the public and educate the public on some of this history that we don't get the opportunity to learn about. You know, we drive by, you know, places that had a lot to do with, you know, us being here in the first place. And I think a lot of redevelopment and, you know, gentrification is going on where, you know, they're building on top of a lot of these things. And I want, through my nonprofit, I want to bring those to light and actually tell people about, you know, a lot of these gems in Alabama. But this also stemmed from me being a history teacher and noticing that, you know, the curriculum is not benefiting anyone, especially students of color. You know, in regards to the history, it's very, I mean, we're in a state where the history basically changed the trajectory of the country in regards to social change. I mean, the Selma to Montgomery March to a lot of stuff that went on here. And I kid you not, like in the book, in the social studies book, it's a section of a chapter, probably 3 pages. The civil rights movement is 3 pages. And
3 pages.
3 pages. It's 3 pages. It's a section of a chapter. It's not even a whole, like, it's just, it's not even like, because, you know, the civil rights movement at least need to be a chapter. It need to be a whole book.
Honestly. It need to be a book.
Exactly. And so we're in Alabama, man. We touching the same soil that these people touch, man. And these students are not even getting this type of information. And so I already had a buzz to actually do something. And so, you know, one day I gave out an assignment to my students, and everybody pulled out their phone and watched a video instead of opening the book. And I was like, man, it's this generation. And I'm the type of teacher where I meet you where you are. And so instead of, you know, turning my scholarly work on the master's level and writing books and articles and stuff like that, I'm more so worried who's going to pick up that book or that article and read it. You know, not Tyrone down the street. Like I need Tyrone to, you know, to get a whiff of what's going on. And so, you know, that's what it sparked. Like I'm gonna turn my scholarly work into short films so I can educate the public. Yeah. But and so that's how it got started, man. And then, you know, but Jock, you're gonna be mad at me right here because you do this for a living. So, you know, I'm like,
I ain't gonna be mad with you. I might agree.
Yeah. So when I first started Hiztorical Vision Productions, I said, man, I'm gonna do 3 films a year. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm an educator and historian at heart, but you know, I had to learn the film industry. But it humbled me. I was like, okay, let me take a step back. It's people that actually do this for a living. It's people that actually go to school for this. And so let me learn the film side of this, and so that I could, you know, find a happy medium, find my style, find, you know, different methods of engaging, you know, my audience with some of this history in Alabama, man. So I actually had to take a step back and actually learn what I was doing to even get to this, you know, this place where I'm at now.
Yeah, I think, and I ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? I think honestly, bro, it's a lot of people who have the drive and the passion to do what you're doing or to do what I'm doing, but they feel that because they don't have the education or they don't come from that type of background that they can't do it. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like I started at 23, 24, like professionally. So, you know what I'm saying? Like as an extra, you know, me and Jeremy would go up and do extra work. And I kind of, you know, took advantage of it because I knew that's what I eventually wanted to do. And I didn't go to school for it. You know what I'm saying? When I went to Clemson, when I sat down with my academic advisor, I told him, like, listen, I want to major in theater. And he was like, well, you can't major in theater. A lot of this stuff is in the PM. Like you'll be at practice or you'll be, you know, on the road or film. And I was like, well, all right. And he was like, what else you want to do? I was like, nothing. I want to major in theater. He was like, well, you got to pick something else. And I ended up double majoring in social and communications, which it turned out to be a blessing because, you know what I'm saying, I was able to get a speech pathologist and they were able to help me with my dialect, etc. But I held that against myself once I got into the industry because I was in rooms with people who went to Juilliard, or they went to
Mhm.
all these different schools, and they've been studying since they were kids. They went to magnet schools and stuff that wasn't available to me in Alabama, and they've been doing it since they was a kid. And they asked me like, when did you start? I was like, I started when I was a kid too, but it was in the school play and the church play. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I encourage people, man, who have the drive and the passion to do it. Like, you just gotta have that conviction, like you did, to learn about it. You know what I'm saying? To learn the structure, to learn the ways to go about it to be productive, and you can do it. Literally, it's there's no book that says who can't be a producer. You know what I'm saying? Or who can't be an actor, a writer, whatever the case may be. So I encourage people. I just also make them aware of the fact that if you don't take it serious, or if you don't do your homework, you'll be eaten alive. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you don't stand a chance. And with that being said, you've got some work out. So you did your research, and not only did you do your research, you put it to work, and you did something. So the most recent thing, I'm gonna show a clip from it, and then I'm gonna let you expound upon it.
They endured a 2-month journey through 2 hurricanes, and the whole of the ship, mostly dark, could only come out 1 day a week for exercise.
Their ancestors who were on that boat was a site of trauma. That boat was a floating prison.
He had 39 locations throughout the city of African Americans and places that had made significant contributions to the city of Mobile. And her name was Dora Franklin Finley.
Zora Neale Hurston is able to come as a woman of African descent and really dig and investigate in a way that I don't think anyone else possibly could.
Of course, Coach Harden was the baseball coach for Cleon Jones and Tommy Agee, who went on to play with the Amazing Mets.
That crazy Henry Williams. He was considered the father of Africatown.
To be the school that it needed to be, he adopted most of Booker T. Washington's principles.
That Ms. Schamberger had delivered over 2,000 babies, not one loss. That is unbelievable.
Yes, sir. So tell us about that. I personally didn't know about it until a couple, maybe 3 weeks ago, when Representative Gray brought it to my attention, and we talked about getting you on the podcast. Fill us in on this documentary and what it's about.
Man. So this documentary is called African by Way of American. I spelled African with a K.
The way it was originally spelled.
Yes, there you go. And so, everything that I did was very intentional to, the interviews that I've done on the story. And so, so the story of Africatown is about, this last illegal shipment of slaves enslaved Africans that actually came into America in around 1860, 1861. And they were already captives in Africa due to losing wars, and they were pretty much POWs in a sense. And so, they were sold off to these culprits, these white slave owners in Mobile, Alabama. That because domestic slave trade, they banned the illegal shipment. They banned slave importation. in the early 1800s. But and so a lot of people started focusing on domestic slave trade slave owners was trading from the north to the south, but they was taxing. There was a lot of money, and so these corporates and known as the mayors actually decided that, hey, it's cheaper just to go over here and just, buy from the source in a sense. And so they actually got these 125 enslaved Africans, and they smuggled them into Mobile. And, this is in the 60s, this is in the 1860s. So, we actually entering into the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
And so these actual captives only spent 5 years in bondage, and they wasn't broken, and they wasn't, washed, brainwashed. And so after abolishment, they actually bought land and actually, created their own settlement in North Mobile. It's such a beautiful story because they still have memories of Africa. Like these people they spent a quarter of their life in Africa. So they know what tribe they're from. They know their relatives that's still there and all the other good stuff. And so it's a beautiful story of how these people was able to, sustain their history and still have that connection. When you talk to some of them, their English is not all the way there. It's like some inconsistencies in their language, but it's beautiful to me because that lets you know that they're like, we're not from here.
They're still tapped into
they're still tapped in, man. It's beautiful, man. And as being someone that actually identifies as African American, I can't expound upon that African aspect of it as we would like. And here's a community that knows exactly where they've come from. And so, as of lately, they actually found a ship that smuggled the African captives into Alabama, which is called the Clotilda. They actually found it in the Mobile River in 2019. So since then, CNN been down there. A lot of media has been down there, and so when I actually went down there first, I get a blessing. So I'll tell you my process in a minute. But when I went down there, I wanted to do another approach because, everybody's down there for the story of the Clotilda. And so when I went to people and was like, hey, tell me about Henry C. Williams that actually helped preserve the history. They was so like appreciative that I'm asking about people that they really care about. Everybody's there for that particular story, which is big. Like they found a slave ship, but they also want people to focus on the people that was on that ship and what they was able to do from an entrepreneur standpoint, build a church, build a school, build a whole community that's still standing to this day. I mean, man, that's impressive. That's impressive, and I wanted to highlight that the best way I could, man. And so. We actually debuted this on a weekend of August 20th, and over 500 people actually tuned in over the weekend to this virtual debut, man. And it's been an honor, man, to actually do this project.
Man, that's huge, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm from Alabama, and I got family in Mobile, and I had never heard of it. So
the only reason I know is because I've been to Mobile recently while being a legislator, and they talked about Africa Town. They talked about, it's a one little cigar bar or club where they have, I forgot the guy's name, but
Mark
he's
Jackson.
like, yeah, but he has this picture of this guy, right? And I can't remember his name, but I was like, he's supposed to be a legend and part of Africa Town, and then. Some of our legislators from Mobile, they did an Africa Town kind of documentary, like History Month thing, and they did it in the chamber, and they had speakers to come to the mic and talk about Africa Town. So that's the only reason that I really know about it. If not being in this position, I probably would have
never known unless I would have came across like Theo to give me this history, because I didn't know about this history.
Yeah, that's big, man. And it's crazy. That's like the last shipment of illegal slaves. That is crazy, but right there in Mobile.
Right there in Mobile.
So what's your ultimate goal for this project?
The ultimate goal is education. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's, you know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, I chose this nonprofit. I mean, this production company is a nonprofit because it's strictly about education and you know, motivation, because, you know, I want to inspire people to do these films. I think I try not to spend too much time on victimization, you know, because we unheard their story, and, you know, we
had enough of that,
yeah, we come out of theaters mad and everything, you know what I'm saying, on our history. But man, we're not getting the opportunity to learn about stories like this, like Black entrepreneurs, Black success, Black leadership, man, Black politicians that, you know, held it down for us in the early 1900s and stuff like that. We're not hearing those pieces, and so I try to tell people, give people these stories, because if you see somebody else doing it, you're gonna believe yourself that you can actually be in these spaces, because we were in these spaces, and before history, pretty much buried it. But, you know, so that's part of our job, is just to, you know, resurface some of these information, because it's beautiful information that can definitely uplift people if heard.
Absolutely, man. So would you be interested in not necessarily turning the documentary in, but taking the information you have and doing more research to making that a feature film?
Yes. So I have some other projects in the bag that I want to dabble in, writing a script or a narrative feature film, and probably try to get in front of somebody that can, you know, take it beyond.
You're gonna get in front of somebody.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna claim it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, to your question, definitely. I have a lot of information, man, that, you know, people contacted me about other topics. Like, hey man, you heard about drown towns? And you guys are familiar with that term, drown towns?
Oh no, yeah. That's
probably so.
I heard it called something else, but that's when they flooded all the Black cities. Yeah. Like,
well, I know about that.
Yeah. They call it drown town.
Lake Lanier is like one of the
biggest,
and like close to us, but
actually Lake Martin.
Well, I was about to say Lake Martin is, but I think Lanier is the biggest. I was like, a lot of people don't know Lake Martin is a man-made lake.
Yeah. And so so somebody put me onto that. So I get a lot of requests on the next project, you know, and so that's on my radar as well. And plus start writing some scripts on some other projects I have in the bag.
Well, bro, if you ever need any help, guidance as far as like the script, or like you need a second eye, bro, I'm one call away.
Appreciate
I'm one
that,
call
man.
away, dog. So let me get out here. You know what I'm saying? We've reached this part of the show. Step up to the podium, my brother. So I ask you a series of questions. You answer them in the best way you know how. All right. So the first question is, what do you feel we have to do to counter the miseducation of history in America?
Oh, repeat that. That's a loaded one, boy.
What do you feel we have to do to counter the miseducation of history in America?
We have to basically acknowledge that it happened. I think, especially, you know, of course, recently CRT and critical race theory and stuff like that is interesting, but I think we have to basically acknowledge that it happened, and also, man, that's just such a loaded question. I don't even know what angle to actually go.
Just one. I mean, you know, it is a lot, but what's one thing that people could do?
Do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
I think also, your teachers can only do so much and things of that nature, but outlets and such as myself, and I know there's other people out there that have other resources where you can actually go to actually do your own research in regards to learning your history.
So you're advocate for parents teaching history as well at home, correct?
Yes, or finding resources such as my nonprofit or other nonprofits that have a lot of information where you can go in and learn more about different things. It's just a lot of people. It's people that write children books that cover a lot of African American history.
So tell them your nonprofit and the site, or how they can find it, where they can go.
Yes. So you can actually go to www.historicalvp.org, and historical is spelled with a Z, so HIZTORICAL VP.org. And on the website, you can actually go to watch documentaries. We have done 3 projects highlighting different beautiful communities in Alabama that have done a lot for us. And so we also have a teacher's resource component to it. So we actually team up with educators that build lesson plans behind some of the videos. And so that's coming soon, because in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about educators, because especially in the history field, it's a lot of educators that actually have to outsource information to make to make their classroom more inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always think about my educators and how it's hard to find resources to give to your children to learn about other perspectives of American history. And so you can find that on our website.
That was the answer right there, bro. That was the answer. That was all I was looking for right there.
you got
outsourced.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, sir. All right, next question, and this is a good one right here. Hold on. I want to show myself on this one, because I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm kind of proud of myself.
You proud of this question?
I'm proud of this one. Listen now, because you're teaching the new age, right? You're teaching the students who pick up their phone, right, and watch a video. If you could be aired globally, right? If you could be aired globally, and all of the grade now we'll just say nationwide, because we want to focus on what we got going, right? If you could be aired nationwide, and all of the grade school students in the U.S. were tuned in to hear you teach for an hour or lecture for an hour, what would you lecture about? You got all of the grade students, black, white, everything, tuned in for an hour. Their teachers make them sit down. Their parents make them sit down. They tuned in to Theo M. What will you teach about for the hour?
Ooh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, I told you I was proud of that one now.
What would I teach about? First of all, I'm going to teach what I know. And that's African American history in the South. But I think I would dive deep into of course slavery, but I ain't gonna focus on slavery. I'm gonna focus on right after the abolishment of slavery, and how a lot of Africans actually came over here with these skills. Like I want to address that first of all, because I think a lot of people assume that slave owners actually taught these Africans how to build,
be a blacksmith.
How to be a blacksmith, and they don't have time for that. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of like these Africans actually came from civilizations that was already doing this type of work, smelting and architecture, growing cotton, and all those type of things. They were already doing that type of work. And so once abolishment happened, and they was able to forgive and forget, and actually start their own settlements, they was able to start their own blacksmith shop, barber shop, dentistry, all the skills that they actually acquired over the years from Africa, and some that they probably learned in America. They was able to build their own settlements, man. And man, it's just such a beautiful story that we don't get the opportunity to learn about. It's like a gap right there. Mm-hmm. And one story, pretty. I think some of us already knew about Black Wall Street, but of course, these two documentaries that came out over the summer, pretty much, educating everybody on that type of success. And so I'm definitely going to talk about that gap that we don't get the opportunity to learn about between abolishment and going into Jim Crow. It was a lot of Black success that was going on, man.
And I feel like that would be the best thing to talk about, because that's the part of the history that they try to bury, and that's the part of the history that we would be most proud of if we knew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For the ones who do know, that's what we're proud of. And most angry about as well, because it was buried. So
yeah. I agree. I mean, I agree too, because I mean, I can say that I've known about some of these things when you talk about post-Reconstruction and all that stuff like that, but it was not until like a few years ago that I really understand, and conceptualize how great we were.
Hold on, boy. What you said?
Like,
boy, that's an SAT word right there, boy.
Hey. I don't think I knew, bro. Like until I started kind of really looking at it, peeling it back, looking at the politicians, looking at the businesses, looking at like how we were the workers. Like we were like the only reason they made permits in business, having a business license and all that stuff like that, it was because of us. Mm-hmm. We had the skills. We were the skilled laborers, and they had to kind of make it in a way where everything that we have now, as far as these restraints, are still barriers for people that have businesses. It's still barriers to that. It hadn't even went anywhere, right? Taxes, permits, license, and all that stuff like that it still continues, to hinder us to this day. So,
yeah, bro. So yeah, we're gonna work on that Zoom call for you. For the world.
Hey man, that'll be. Hey, let's do it.
All right, next question. If you could choose one place to live and teach for a week, anywhere in the world, paid for, where would you go?
To teach,
or not even teach. It could be based around the production company, the nonprofit. You can go anywhere in the world to study or teach for a week, where would you go?
I'm a small town guy, and man, I'm the type of person that if I just touch, if I'm able to impact 2 people, I'm good. Mm-hmm. So it will be basically what I'm doing now, communities that basically been forgotten about.
Yes, sir.
And so it will be a small town where I will offer my services for free. I wouldn't even ask for that, like because this is what I love to do.
Boy, you're gaining some fans right now.
Yeah, because eventually, that's why we became a nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Because Africa Town, the community before that was Hobson City in Northeast Alabama. And so these are like so it will be a small community. I'm not sure where though.
Yeah.
Have you all ever heard of Utah, Alabama?
Yeah.
Over there
I know it exists, but I ain't
it's close to Mississippi, right?
Yeah. So that's on my radar as well. They've been like on me Like, please come here because it's a black controlled county, Greene County, and so I go there. I think we gonna probably work something out where I can go there and offer my services and stuff like that.
Okay, Utah, Alabama, that's where we going.
And it's spelled pretty interesting too.
Yeah, it is. All right, so next question: favorite athlete of all time? He got an athlete in his family or something. He don't want to disappoint nobody. He got to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, but they ain't no great like that. It was short lived, man. But it's the athletes that was able to dominate both sports. So it's between Bo and Dion for me.
Yes, sir.
Is because man, who does that, man? Like,
it's tough.
And so,
Representative Gray do it.
Oh,
but I've never done it on that level. But
that's because you ain't had the right guidance. But you had somebody that was on you like, you don't run track. But yeah, Dion and Bo, yeah. And Bo,
I like them too.
Bowles was really short-lived because he got hurt.
So that's why I had to go more so Dion, man. Yeah.
But Bo actually like an all-star in both. Dion wasn't. Like Bo actually probably went to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
for both
sports. Yeah. So that's why I said Bo first, because although it was short-lived, man, he was about to do something crazy.
Oh yeah,
like he the best player. When they rank like who was the greatest of all time, he the greatest, and he didn't play that long, right? But he really did. He just get it because of his potential. Like what he was. What would Bo have been if he didn't pull that hip out the side?
But just that injury alone, that lets you know how much human he wasn't. Like how you pull your hip off the bone, bro. Like what?
Bro,
that joke was a maniac. All right, last question. Representative Gray know the question, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. It's my first time tweaking it. I'm tweaking for you because you're a historian, right? You're a history buff. So if you could have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with 3 people from the past who are no longer living, who would those people be? So you can sit down with one person for breakfast, one person for lunch, one person for dinner.
Oh man. So yeah. And all right. Does Jesus count?
Yeah.
I mean, he's alive.
Jesus on most people's list because he's just.
But he's alive though. You know.
He ain't on Earth though, so you still can sit down with him.
Okay.
You can't go around with him right now, so he can't.
So start the morning off with Jesus.
Okay.
Lunch. My grandmother. My grandmother on my mother's side, I never got the opportunity to meet her. And so let's see. For dinner, it had to be Carter G. Woodson.
Okay.
Carter G. Woodson is basically, some people call him the father of Black history. He in the 1900s. He's the one that actually started, the name of the organization is ASALA, African American Society, or whatever the case might be, and he basically started Black History Month. It actually started off as a week, but he also started the Black History Month, and he just noticed that it was America, and especially this nation, wasn't really interested in telling our history or preserving our history or documenting our history. You know what I'm saying? That's how he actually started this whole field of African American studies and paving the way for a lot of other greats and to do to do what we're doing, like preserving African American history. But it's sad that some of the same things that he was facing in the early 1900s is the same exact thing that we're facing right now. And the reason why, you know what I'm saying? And so I relate to him on many different levels in regards to what he was faced with in the early 1900s and what I'm trying to do now. And so that I will end dinner with Carter G. Woodson. And he's also an Omega. Had to throw that in there.
Okay. That's a phenomenal answer. I like that. All right. So we're gonna take you off the podium. We got to the end of the podcast episode, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, before we do this, did you hear anything, Rep? Did they choose a winner yet?
Oh yeah. So I told you Ryan won. Yeah. So
Ryan.
When they was doing his bio, I don't know, because I couldn't hear it, right? He was on for about 10 minutes. Everybody else was on for a good 4, 5. So I was like, if anybody else would win besides me, would be him. And he won. So he deserved it.
Where is he from?
Georgia. He from Georgia. He worked on the Biden campaign. He was part of the whole flipping Georgia blue, and he's a consultant. Yeah. So I can't be mad. I can't be mad at that, brother.
Well, give us 2 years, Ryan. we're coming for you.
But congratulations anyway, Jeremy. That's dope, bro. You're doing good work.
Super dope, bro. That's like that boy paving the way for us, man. So we like to end the podcast with a gem of elevation. It could be a quote, scripture, anything that. But I like to pertain the gem of elevation to the guests that we have, right? So I started looking for the gem of elevation probably like 3 days ago. And I was like, man, this ain't it. This ain't it. I found one. I was like, nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. And then last night, I was like, I was looking at your bio. I was going through the bio again, and I was inspired. So I was like, okay. So I started doing it, researching it again, and I found my gem of elevation, right? So this is gem of elevation, and it pertains to you, right? The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, but the greatest teacher inspires. You got that?
Yeah.
You got it? I'm gonna say it one more time for you.
So what am I doing? I'm explaining that?
No. You ain't gotta explain it. I just want you to hear it.
Okay.
I just wanted to soak into your
psyche.
All right,
guys. All right.
The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, but the greatest teacher inspires. So you can do all of the above, but if you're doing that last one, you're the greatest type of teacher. And you're clearly doing that because of the impact that you have on not only your students, but the people in the community. You're inspiring. And you being able to go into the classroom, unzip, be vulnerable with the kids, and really make an impact on them and leave that implant on them, that stamp on them, that positive stamp on them for the remainder of their life is unmatched. You know, it's irreplaceable. That's something that you can't really teach. You either got it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you're able to inspire everybody that you teach or everybody that you come in contact with speaks volumes of who you are. So that's why I chose that one, brother. It took me 3 days to pick it. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it was the right one. And man, we got to chop it. You live in Opelika, right?
Yeah, Opelika is home, man. And now, I'm trying to do some things in the community. Now that I got this film out, I want to turn back around and, start something in Opelika, where, I'm actually thinking about an arts program, teaching the arts of like documentary filmmaking, and actually bring in other people such as yourself and Jeremy,
you get
to come.
You got the right two people. You know what I'm saying? Because Representative Gray got the keys to the city. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The community is, if Rep got his name on it, the community gonna support it because they know he's doing it for the benefit of them. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you get ready to tap in with the community, and you need the kids to be involved. You go over to the Curtis house and
yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
We got a room. We got a room for you. You can fit
we talk.
12. Yeah, it look a little different now. We fit like 10, 12 kids in here.
Yeah.
And you got a TV that you can hook up to HDMI. And bro, you can go to work.
That's what it is, bro. And
we gonna make it happen.
Yeah, and then you can get them gems from Mr. Curtis. You know what I'm saying? Who was a legend in the city. You know what I'm saying? Learn that history. And I got another story for you too when you get ready to take your talents outside of Alabama, man. I got a story that happened in Mississippi. That's I'm not even gonna say what it is because people gonna go research it, and then they gonna I'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? When I come to the city, when I come to Opelika again, bro, we're gonna all have to sit down and chop it up, man.
Oh, for sure, man.
And see what we can get done. I'm sure you'll talk to Representative Gray before then about the arts program that that you're gonna do. So yeah, bro, appreciate you for being on, man. It was a blessing, man. I feel like a lot of people are gonna be inspired from this episode. I'm inspired. I can't wait to put it out Sunday. So
appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it.
Sir.
Oh, what size you wear, man? I send the shirt your way. Oh, I send the Jeremy.
3X. I'll send my information. Yeah.
I still got my shirt too. It's a nice shirt, and I was just gonna kind of close with, bro, you're an inspiration yourself for real. Like, I mean, you can't be too much. You're probably younger than us, and you was the first person to graduate high school, in your family, right? And then you went on to college and you got a master's, and you're still excelling. So never kind of not tell your story, because your story is a great story. Usually you hear about first generation high school, college, but not high school though, right? A lot of times in high school, most people get through high school, with someone going through high school before them, but to be the first to go through high school, brother, that's amazing. And then just kind of having that forward vision, or just thinking there's no limitation or no box, and you go on to basically get 2 or 3 more degrees. So I commend you for that.
Oh, appreciate it, man. I just had this mentality, man. Like, I already done seen the worst, so why not? Why not shoot for the stars? You know what I'm saying? So it worked out for me.
It did, and this is the beginning, man. You just getting started.
Appreciate it,
man. And if like he said, bro, I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by those who continue to give back on their way up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people wait until they're here to give back, but you're giving back as you rise. So, bro, it's inspiration. So if you ever need me for anything, man, I'm gonna send you my number, my address, and all that. So we can link up.
Oh, definitely appreciate that, Job.
Yes, sir. And Rep, you want to close this out?
Yes, sir. Until next time, stay elevated, my friends.
Yes, sir.
See
Peace.